Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. It's 2025 finally, and it's a lot of rugby that's waiting for us this year. Actually, quite excited. Now, talking about the previous games for the last couple of weekends, especially before the new year that broke on, we saw the Stormers facing off against the Sharks first, and against the Lions first, and then against the Sharks. Um, yeah, quite surprising there, I must say, and they didn't expect that to actually happen. And then, of course, we will be talking about the up and coming rugby season for the Springboks coming in 2025. It's quite exciting, a lineup that's happening there. The British and Irish Lions tour of Australia as well, and we'll be talking about the reviewing the past weekend's games in the Investec Cup. Lying ahead. All of this coming up in just a moment. Okay, so yes, we have had the last 2 weekends before New Year's as quite an exciting lineup in rugby. We had the URC facing off the Stormers against the Lions, and then against the Sharks for a second time. In both those games, we saw, unfortunately, Sasha Feinberg-Gumazulu going off with injuries. One injury to his shoulder, I believe, and the other one to his as a head injury. We basically saw Sasha not performing this past weekend for the Stormers, but I'm pretty sure that John Dobson would like to keep him back a bit. Just see that he would be, top shape for the coming games ahead. We're obviously talking about the Investec Cup round 3, I believe it was. This past weekend, we had the Stormers facing off against the Sharks. We then had the Lions going up against Montpellier, and then the Bulls against Castres, and also the Sharks had made an appearance this last weekend. Didn't go too well for the South African teams, except for the Stormers. Now, this is quite amazing because just before the end of last year, we saw the Stormers facing off against the Lions and the Sharks, and they performed absolutely smashingly well, crushing the Lions with an absolute mind-blowing. I think it was 20 to 5. Score at the end there, and against the Sharks, not exactly to the same effect. They did win by quite a margin, and I think they did get the bonus point as well in there. But the Sharks couldn't match up to the Stormers' ferocity and their focus and their absolute pressure that they kept these other teams under. I don't know if John Dobson, took to heart some of my advice in the previous videos, but there was a remarkable improvement in their game overall, and especially this last weekend going up against Sale Sharks. Absolute epitome, the very definition of a whitewash. I think it was eventually ended up as 42-0 against the Sale Sharks. Didn't expect it, not at all. I mean, it was an absolute walkover. JD Sheckling basically scoring the first try off a fantastic play by Suleiman Hudson-Berg. a fantastic knockback from a up and over by Hotzenberg, basically putting the ball squarely into JD Scheckling's hands, a couple of meters out from the try line, making it a try right underneath the poles there. We have the second try basically by Wada Kalant, which was also absolutely fantastic. Tsitole making another absolute strong push, resulting in a try for him, which was quite funny because he was directly after that try taken off, replaced by what I can only guess would be, John Dobson's own version of the bomb squad. Diving into an absolute try and making a fantastic finishing off to the attacking position. Paul de Vet then getting another one over, kind of rolling into the try. The Shell Sharks did, a fantastic effort to try and keep the ball up, but he just, got the grounding in before anything they could actually, get their hands underneath and trying to hold it up. Unfortunately, from the ref saw the grounding, so not well, not really considered effort to try and hide it from the ref there, but very well, attempted by the Cell Sharks to try and save that one. Fortunately, not to be. And then Andre Huruvento coming in for a try, that really making it an absolute wonderful sort of start to a 2025 for him as well. JD Scheckeling, funny enough, running onto the field for his 50th cap in a Investec Cup Challenge. Really something that he, was looking forward to, and sort of a feather in his cap on that one. 40.20 victory for the Stormers. And Lebock, unfortunately, getting an eye injury in the game didn't quite, detract him from, his performance for the game. Performing absolutely brilliant. He didn't do too well against the game in the Sharks just before New Year. Missing, I think, maybe 2 or 3 of his conversions. But didn't make a very good comeback in the rest of the gameplay, and especially this weekend as well. Only missing 1 conversion, which was from Wada Kalant's try right in the corner. So it was a very kind of skew kick and conversion for the young man, which he's always had a bit of an issue with, but not him alone. I mean, there's plenty of other, number 10s out there that has failed that dreaded, angle kick, diagonal angle kick. Lebock's injury basically giving some game time to Jean-Luc Duplessis. Funny enough, the Cell Sharks running onto the field with 3. Count them, 3 Dupreas. Jean-Luc Dupreas and 2 of his brothers running up onto the field for the Cell Sharks that entire game. And one of the Dupreas brothers, I think it was Ruben Dupreas, that was actually the captain for the Sharks there. So, South Africa's really moving up in the world, scattering around. I mean, like Savuka said, it's the scatterings of Africa. Always making a comeback somewhere in the world with rugby. Just can't divide us from our rugby games, can you? Then coming into the Lions for the Montpellier against Montpellier, and shame. The Lions did try hard, but for some reason the discipline was sorely lacking. I mean, they would go in with like forwards constantly badgering the forward lines. Then at some point the ball would come out to the back line. Some ball handling errors would happen and they would lose possession. Montpellier keeping the ball attacks firmly in the Lions half for most of the game. So that unfortunately for the away team basically translated into quite a significant amount of points for Montpellier, scoring a 28 victory over 5 against the Lions. The second, quite a few tries for Montpellier disallowed. as the eighth man, basically tackling a guy off the ball on the first one for their second try, disallowed. But yeah, they're definitely bringing the energy in that game, which the Lions could really, sort of hold a candle to. The Lions' defense on most of the first half was not as one would expect. They're allowing for a lot of dummy penetration of the defenses, which didn't do them any favors. And again, the yellow card also didn't quite help them in that facet. The third try also not allowed for Montpellier, as the number 3 also had a guy tackled off the ball. And then, in the 54th minute, a brilliant try by Montpellier, scoring their second try as well by, I think it was Alexis Baudelet, that also, played a smashing game. One of his tries being disallowed, unfortunately, but the second one, in his second attempt, he made sure that actually, start with a fantastic grounding, and then sort of, it just kind of ran away from the Sharks. Both of them not really scoring a bonus point, which I think is kind of not really a saving grace for the Lions, but yeah, that's just there with the way they crumbled. The Lions focusing too much on front row attacks. So, and then eventually, after like about the 12th phase, then the ball handling would eventually just fail them, and they would lose possession, giving too much unnecessary possession away, which was another problem in that game for the Lions. And the bonus point try. Montpellier did score a bonus point try after the failed running attempt by Pretorius. Once again, seeing that the ball handling and just converted over into a turnover of ball possession, and it just it was all she wrote from then on. The Bulls against Carstairs this weekend also started off strong. The Bulls started off really strong, going into with the first try in the 6th minute by Jan-Hendrik Wessels, and that's basically all she wrote. Try remaining unconverted for the rest of the game, and then they had the penalty goal. I think 2 penalty goals that they scored after that, which converted into about 10 points for them, and then 49 points for Carstairs, which is really was painful to watch towards the end. The second half was just almost like a walkover for Carstairs. The Bulls clearly losing all morale towards the end of the game, as Carstairs just started racking in the tries one after the other. The boys did make an absolute fantastic considered defense, playing some really good rugby right at the beginning. In the first half, there was some tries again for Carstairs disallowed. The second try for Carstairs being disallowed, unfortunately, after they tried to take a quick line out with a new ball. You can't do that, unfortunately. If you want to take a quick line out, you use the same ball. If you can't get your hands on the ball, sorry, no quick line out. You have to wait for the line out to form before you can actually get your scrum off or not your scrum off, but your hooker to put the ball in. So that didn't work for them, but still didn't really quite make that much of a difference. Bulls' discipline started wavering within the last bit of the first half, and kind of continued right through the second half. Carstairs really, performing admirably with their ball handling and their discipline. Absolutely fantastic. Their defense was bar none in that entire game, where Bulls just as the more the morale started, falling, the more the Casters just completely bowled over any kind of Bulls attempted defenses, and it just went straight down from there. Now the Sharks did put up a lot better performance in their game. And I'm sorry, it completely fails me for the moment against who they played. But also, didn't lose by a huge margin. They simply needed one more try right at the end to bring themselves within a 7-point difference, and thus securing the bonus point. But they just couldn't break through. They just couldn't break through the lines, the defensive lines of the opponents. So it basically all the away games that South Africa has played this weekend ended up really badly for our side, and the home team basically walked away with a victory every single time, it would seem, this entire weekend. Stormers obviously playing most of the games away last year, so they're getting more of a opportunity to play in a home field advantage over here at the DHL Stadium. So for them, absolutely well done, Stormers. You guys have reaffirmed our faith in you, in your performance, making an absolutely wonderful comeback. And it was an absolute, for me at least, an absolute pleasure to be watching that game. I was faithful in most of that game. So definitely some of the best rugby performance that I've seen this weekend coming from our boys in the white and blue. Hoping to see more of that going forward. But now to come back to the Springbok lineup for this year. Starting again in July, the Springboks will be facing off against Italy in 2 games. Then during that time, the British and Irish Lions will be touring Australia for their couple of weeks of tasting the Wallabies mettle, and maybe in preparation for the 2027 World Cup that will be played in Australia as well. A lot of people have felt that it's a bit unfair, as they're getting kind of a first look and first experience at the pitches they will be playing on. But look, I mean, it's 2 years still away for the World Cup. I mean, how much of that experience can they retain going forward in preparation for the World Cup? So after that, they will be the Springboks will be again touring. I think in September they'll be going up against Argentina, but before that they will also be facing off against the All Blacks. We will be facing the Australians in August. Between August and September, we'll be facing off against the Australians, just in time after the British and Irish Lions get the hell out of there. And then we'll be facing off, like I said, against Argentina coming September months, and then ending off in October, I believe, the last game against Argentina. Between the Wallabies and Argentina, we will be playing 2 test matches against the All Blacks again. I believe it is in Auckland, but I will be filling you guys in on all those details as they become available. Hopefully for the teams announced to be touring, making the different tours against Italy, Wallabies, New Zealand and Argentina. And then we'll be walking on to 2026, which will be another brilliant year for rugby, I believe. But in between that, obviously, we'll still be having the URC, Investec Cup, and all the rest of the wonderful kind of European challenge, that's also in full swing. That was basically the Montpellier and Lions game, as the Lions are probably the only South African team active within the European Cup Challenge. I think last year it was the Sharks that was involved there, but didn't quite pan out for the Lions as it did for the Sharks. Sharks winning the European Cup Challenge last year. But hey, it's not over yet. A lot can happen still. So we'll be holding thumbs for the boys up north for their performance in Europe this season. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining me. Give me your opinions on the games and everything that's happened this last weekend, and the lineup, obviously, for the Springboks coming this year. Who will you be waiting to see, performing in the green and gold against all these teams? And what do you think Rassie has got cooking up in his sleeve? Leave me your comments your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you haven't done so, and please, guys, encourage your friends, encourage your family to do the same, and then join me, have them joining me as well in this journey for the 2025 rugby season, as I'll be absolutely happy to have you guys join me again this coming weekend as well for a smashing weekend of rugby. Have your beers handy, have your fry fires lit, and please take care of each other and yourselves. Peace out.